The Mortuary Assistant is probably one of the most entertaining theater-going experiences I have had so far this year. Not because it's scary, but because I was laughing consistently. This is like the third horror video game adaptation to come out so far this year, at least, after Iron Lung and Return to Silent Hill. I've never played the game, I don't know much about it. I did look up the plot afterward, and I found out that this does pretty much hit all the major beats of the game, and I'm sure there are a bunch of little references and Easter eggs, but that's not what this video is going to be about. I'm going to be judging it as a movie. All I knew is that the title, The Mortuary Assistant, was a promising title for a horror story. It made me think of something like The Autopsy of Jane Doe. So I gave it a chance, and if you want a horror movie that you can laugh at with a bunch of friends, you know, this is not actually a bad choice. But on a technical level, as a horror film, oh man. So you have Willa Holland, who gets a job working at this mortuary, and there are some strange goings-on. Her boss is the weirdest man in the entire world. There's like a ghoul in the basement. Bodies are getting possessed, fresh wounds are appearing on the bodies, she's hallucinating supernatural things. What's going on? I'll give the movie some credit. There are some practical effects here and there, and they're good. And Willa Holland is fine. I don't think I've ever seen her in anything outside of the show Arrow, but she is fine. I can't really give her too much credit. I don't think she brings like a ton to this performance or anything, but I don't think there's really a lot you could do here in a movie like this. I think for what she has to do, she is okay. She's certainly the better of the two main actors that are involved here, but outside of those few things, I cannot give this movie any credit outside of the fact that I was laughing at it, which was not the intention at all. Her boss is played by Paul Sparks, and oh my God, I actually love this man. His performance is so bad that he was my favorite part. And I don't know if it's his fault. I don't know if this is how he was directed to be. I don't know if he's trying to match something from the games, if they wanted him to be really over the top, but oh, he is so creepy in like the most ridiculous, over the top way. Every time he speaks, every time he gives a look of any kind, it is so unsubtle. No one on Earth would ever trust this man. From like the tiniest little inflections that he has, it's just like, I'm going to need you to come into work tonight. Something has thunder rolls in the background. Come up. It's just like every single thing he says is like that. It kept me entertained. It got to the point where, I don't know if this is relatable to anybody, but when I get on a roll laughing at a particular thing, I eventually get to the point where I keep laughing at it even when it's no longer funny. So even in the times when he's not actually saying anything ridiculous or even giving any ridiculous looks, the few moments where he is actually just being normal, I'm laughing at those too, because it's just now so ingrained in me that this man is hilarious to watch. And so he actually brought me a lot of joy, but whatever was going on with his performance, it is ridiculous. Every line sounded like he had never spoken English before. There's a major pacing problem with this movie, even though it's super short, it's like 90 minutes. Runtime is not the issue when people actually complain about those kind of things. It's pacing, it's the story. There was one point where I thought the movie was about to end, so I checked the time, and it hadn't even been an hour. I was shocked. This is a case of people not realizing the difference between mediums. There are some things that work in a game that do not work as well in a movie. There are segments of this where she's like looking through shelves and looking through hallways with a light to find these symbols, to try to match these symbols, to try to figure out the demon's weakness or however she's going to be able to defeat the demon, basically like solving little puzzles. And that would be the kind of thing that would be fun to do in a game because you are the one doing it. And this is something a lot of video game adaptations don't understand. Not everything that's fun to do is fun to watch someone else do. There are some game adaptations that stray so far from the source material that it's a problem, but there are some that stick too close to it that it's a problem. You want to hit the narrative beats, the themes, the characters, but in terms of what's actually happening on a moment-to-moment basis, you can't just try to translate gameplay into narrative on a screen because they're different things. So outside of the funny parts, a good amount of this movie is actually really boring, especially the second half, because it feels like the same scene happens about 4 times. She investigates to figure out what the demon's weakness is, and then tries it, and then that doesn't work. Oh, the demon is still here. And so you gotta try the next thing. And it feels like the same thing happens over and over again. So it feels like this really should have been a short film or a video game. The jump scares are very lame, they're not effective, the direction is not particularly great. It could have made some of these scenes more intense, but instead they could have just come across as a little bit awkward. There was barely anybody in my theater, but 2 of the guys who were in the row in front of me left like halfway through, and they did not come back. It tries to do the thing that a lot of horror stories do nowadays, where the monster is representative of some kind of issue going on in the main character's life. In this case, she is a recovering addict, and there are some thematic connections between that and the horror elements, and it probably works better in the game, and props for trying something there, but it's so on the nose. Take the ending of something like The Babadook, but imagine that a character came on screen and explained it to the main character. Just said out loud what the thematic connection is. Like, well, you see, the reason The Babadook is there is because like this. Like how you're feeling like that about your trauma and your grief. It's like that. Like, I get it. It's very clear. You don't have to explain it out loud like I'm a baby. I also thought the mortuary element was really underused. You've got something like the autopsy of Jane Doe where the morgue and the corpse are essential. Like, that's what the movie is about. It's the whole mystery of how this corpse ended up this way, what's going on with her. But in this, there's only a few scenes here and there where the bodies really get involved. And outside of that, it feels like it could have taken place anywhere. The mortuary element is rather underused, and that's kind of the whole point, isn't it? It's actually just about demon possession. And, it happens to be in a mortuary, and the demon's trying to possess the main character, and does possess her several times, but then after that, for the rest of the movie, can't anymore, because I guess she's more strong-willed against it, even as she's getting scared over and over again and breaking down. It can't possess her anymore, but also it possesses bodies, and sometimes those bodies have white eyes, and sometimes they have their regular eyes, and sometimes when it possesses her, it makes her hurt herself, or makes the bodies try to hurt her, which is weird because I thought you wanted to take over her body. Why are you trying to hurt her physically? I didn't really follow the rules. That all felt a little haphazard. It also does that thing that a lot of horror movies do where they play around with reality. The demon can make her hallucinate and make her think this whole entire event happened, and then it turns out none of it happened, or did it? And that shit really irritates me a lot of the time when you push it too far, because like when you do it too many times, when you have entire scenes, entire sequences of events play out, and then you go, actually, none of that happened. Gotcha. It's like, oh, okay, well then, why do I care? Like, if we're at the point where none of this might even be happening, what am I supposed to invest in? None of this could even be real. Like, this could all be fake. Why do I care? Especially, again, when there doesn't seem to be any concrete rules, like, okay, well, why doesn't it just make her hallucinate literally all the time if it can do that? It gets to the point where I don't trust anything. I just assume what I'm seeing isn't real, so I don't invest in it. It's very obvious watching it that it's adapted from a game and that they just didn't take the time figuring out how to properly turn it into something else. Let's just kind of put the main beats of the game on the screen, tell this guy to talk really weird and creepy the whole time, and that's it. Do the same thing over and over again for 90 minutes, and then it ends. It barely even really ends. There's not much of an ending. It kind of just stops. But I was laughing a good amount, except for all the boring parts, which was a good amount of it. But other than that, there's some entertainment value to be had. I didn't have the worst time, but in terms of pure quality, it's the worst movie I've seen so far this year. It's bad. It's like a 2 out of 10. There's not anything here that's actually worth it for movie-going audiences at all. And if you've played the game and you just want to see references and stuff, you're probably better just replaying the game, because this is not gonna be any better than that, I guarantee you. But this was all just my opinion. So if you've played the game and you want to talk about that, how it compares to the movie, if you actually really liked the movie, if you thought Paul Sparks was really funny like I did, anything at all, let's talk about it down in the comments. It's interesting, because I do not feel that my time was wasted. I did have mostly a good time, and yet I recommend it to no one. But leave your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.